Have you ever wondered how you can be more effective when training your dog? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down how you can significantly improve your training sessions with your dog. Hello, my name is Zechariah Matson, and I help dog owners go from feeling burnt out and struggling to control their dog's behavior to gaining the confidence and ability needed to regain control using the art of play, so that they can maximize the relationship they have with their dog. I oftentimes get asked the question by a lot of my dog training clients how I'm able to achieve the results I get with dogs, and not only how I'm able to achieve them, but also how I'm able to get those results as fast and as quickly as I do in my training. Now, I always love the look that I get from my clients' faces and the people I talk to when I tell them that I use play in my training and I play with the dogs. Now, they oftentimes get very confused, thinking that all I really did was play with the dog, and that's not all I do. I do a lot more than just play with the dog. However, play is such a crucial step to dog training that so many people neglect and they pass over. But I'm going to talk a little bit about how I use play that dramatically increases the effectiveness of your dog training. Play has a lot of benefits, and they oftentimes get overlooked when teaching dogs. But in order to truly understand the benefits that play provides, both us and the dogs, we have to look at the science that backs up this claim. And what I want to talk about is a few studies that talk about play and mention how they're useful in effectively teaching behaviors to dogs. The first study I want to look at is a study that was done back in 1964. And it was a very exciting experiment done by neuroscientists, and they wanted to see the brain growth of rats. So what they did in this experiment is they took two groups of rats and raised them separately. One group of rats they put in solitary confinement, and they weren't allowed to interact, they weren't allowed to do anything, they were just given food, water, and they were just raised in that sterile environment. And the other group of rats, they were raised in an environment that were filled with a bunch of exciting toys, they got to play with other little rats, and they had a lot of interactions both with the environment and other members of their own species. Now, what they found at the conclusion of this experiment is that the rats raised in the environment with all the exciting toys and with their fellow rats, they had thicker cerebral cortices and were much more intelligent than the rats that were raised in solitary confinement and didn't have access to that fulfilling behavior and that play with their fellow rats. Another study, again, done on rats, this one was done in about 2003, showed that shortly after play, rats had an increase in brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, within their brains. This BDNF is crucial to brain growth and maintenance, and significantly helped their retention when learning new skills and being taught different things by the individuals performing the study. Now, there's not just studies on rats done regarding play, there's been multiple studies on school-age children that have yielded similar results to the studies that I mentioned about the rats. In these studies, what they discovered is that when children were provided with more opportunities to play with other children and engage and had longer times of recess and were able to run and be children, what they learned is that those children that did that had longer attention spans and retained more information in schools that they were being taught. So, moving on, how does this apply to training your dogs? And simply put, dogs, much like us humans and the rats, they're very complex animals, and they have strong desires to have emotional connection with us as humans. Just like the rats and children in the previously mentioned experiments, dogs can benefit when play is incorporated into their training. And there's a variety of benefits that can be provided to dogs when you incorporate play. I'm just going to kind of go through a list of these benefits. So, for example, play encourages exploration of new things. This is very important for younger dogs that are going through socialization. And what it does is it gets the dog out of their shell. If you've got a very fearful dog, playing with that dog is going to bring them out, and they're going to be more willing to explore new environments. They're not going to be as timid or afraid in those new environments. That's a huge thing that play provides and can improve in your training with your dog. Another one is that play is self-motivating. A lot of behaviors that we do with dogs when we do dog training, we have to motivate the dog to do that behavior. We have to give the dog some kind of reward or praise or find some way to motivate the dog to do or not do a certain behavior. With play, that's not the case. Dogs have a natural desire to play. It's something that they long for. It's deep down in their souls, they want to play. Another thing is that play is a tutorial for life skills and proper socialization, both for dogs and as well as us humans. Think of young children. When they play games such as pretend cook with a kitchen, or they'll pretend to be cops and robbers. They pretend in play to do adult things. This is very similar to what dogs do when they're young, and even as older dogs, they pretend and they learn proper socialization through play. It acts as a tutorial for their life skills and is very important for their overall well-being. As mentioned before in the studies, play encourages a learning mind. It's one of the first things I want to look for before I teach a dog any kind of skill, any kind of obedience. The first thing that I want to do is establish and build a love and desire for play to get the dog in that right mental state before I go forward with that dog. It also creates problem solving and really helps with the dog's self-regulation. These are two important skills that all dogs should possess when they become adults, is the ability to self-regulate their emotions as well as problem solve when they are faced with a challenging situation that if they were not played with previously and they didn't have that experience, they would lose their minds and they'd essentially black out. They wouldn't know what they're doing. They'd freak out and resort back to their animalistic instincts. But when played with, if played properly, they then can override that. They can problem solve. They can regulate their emotions, which really helps, especially when dealing with a lot of behavioral cases of dogs that display aggression or extreme fearfulness or things of that nature. The last benefit that I want to get into today, and this isn't all-inclusive, there's many more benefits that play can do with your dog that can really help in the training that you're trying to do, whether it be teaching obedience to behavior mod. But the last benefit is that when teaching repetitions, when trying to teach obedience behaviors or a new skill, play takes less repetitions to learn than using other methods, other reward systems, whether it be using treats, whether it be using praise. Using play between you and the dog significantly increases their ability to learn, and thus it takes less repetitions. And you can teach a dog in so much less time using play than if you were to use other methods. And this is why, again, going back to what I said originally, I get so many people that ask me, how do I get the results I get? And how do I get them so fast? And it's because I'm a firm believer about using play in training and incorporating that into training. And it helps with so many dogs I work with. Again, whether it be obedience related or behavior modification related, play is always my go-to and can significantly and effectively increase your training no matter what you're trying to train your dog to do. So with that being said, I want to thank you for watching this video. It was a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for your time. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want to learn more about how you can train your dog, then I highly recommend you check out my dog training masterclass. You can find the link in the video description below. All you gotta do is open up the video description, go down, you'll see the link there. And in that masterclass, I will discuss the 6 biggest mistakes that everyone is making with their dogs. And those mistakes end up destroying the relationship you have with them. So if you're serious about training your dog, you want to take your skills to the next level, that is the first step I highly encourage. that you go check out that free training for you. It's really great. You're going to love it, and it will really take your training to the next level. Thank you again so much for your time, and till next time, have a good one.